One, two,
three. Hey, we're back. It's the Mack and Rocker podcast. Welcome back to the studio, Josh.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How you doing?
Doing good. Good. Ready for the long weekend.
Oh, good. Yeah, Labor Day weekend, folks. So we'll probably stream this Tuesday. So we're here Saturday before September 2nd, right?
Oh,
That's
shoot.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first is Monday, right?
Today's the 31st, so.
Oh, no.
First is Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
This year is
it's gone.
flying by.
Anymore. And I wonder if this is me, like, manifesting this. I don't want it to go this fast, but it does. So anymore, it's like, okay, here's Christmas, my favorite time of the year now.
Yeah.
And then it's January, which totally sucks in Indiana.
Yeah.
But hang in there, kids, because it's almost Christmas again. That's how fast it's going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The only positive thing for me that came out of January is my wife. It's her birthday month. Other than that, January, it's such a slog to get through. I feel like that's the year right there. If you can get through January, you're
gonna do okay.
Yeah.
When all the bad things are gonna happen, or it always seems like it's bizarre, but it's always in January.
Yeah.
And I just hate that month, at least in northern Indiana.
Yeah.
Now maybe if we lived down there in Jupiter, Florida, or something like that.
See, the last few years we took off.
Yeah.
Like as soon as Christmas, we'd spend some Christmas here, get the nice Christmas vibe, and then we would just head south.
Let's go south.
We'd get some sunshine and 70, 80 degree days for a week or two.
Wow. I probably need to do that.
I'll tell you, if you've got seasonal depression at all, bam, takes care of that.
I have it. I have to up my dose of vitamin D, and then I have it. So I probably should get down there that time of year. Probably help me out.
Even if it's for like 3-4 days, just get away, get some nice weather. I mean, shoot, we go down, hang out, kids swim. Well, sometimes it still gets cold down there.
Sure,
I don't care. What people say. It's hot in the summer, but man, it'll still dip 50, 55, 60 degrees.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it's still a heck of a lot better than what you're going to deal with up here.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago, it was 60 degrees on New Year's. Remember that? That was funny.
I think that might have been the year we were down in Florida.
Okay.
So it was actually warmer here than what it was here.
In Florida.
Yeah.
I heard that from some other people, and I thought, well, hey, we just got lucky. That day it was unseasonably warm. But
I just told him, I was like, well, look, I'm at Universal Studios, and you're just sitting there with leaves on trees and
deader and crap.
Yeah.
The sun's probably not shining. Right?
Yeah. It's probably, I don't know.
And then I'm sure you hear this a lot. Well, that's Northern Indiana for you. Welcome to Northern Indiana, which is true. It's very true. You just hear it so much because is this real? Is this, this happening? This weather, where we one day here not too long ago was like 80, and then next thing you know, it's 50.
Yeah, those mornings where it was like 45, 50 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then last week it was 90.
Yeah.
5 or so. I mean, come on.
Hottest day so far this year, and that used to be common when I was younger in the summer. So climate change is probably real. I mean, it's probably not. It's real. I mean, it's probably taking place. Is what I mean. The cycles, cyclical. Well, okay. Any football games this weekend?
Nope. We're on a bye for the holiday.
Okay.
So last week we don't keep score, but we got a win.
Nice.
The kids keep score.
Sure.
Like, let's be honest. Like the league doesn't keep score for the 8U group, but the kids keep score, and they remember. They know. So kids played great. They had a great. And it was hot. It was hot, and they fought through it. So kudos to them.
It was hot, and I know you had them out there practicing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you had pictures this week.
Yeah, we had pictures Thursday.
That's always fun, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's a lot of organized chaos, but they set it up really well. It was pretty good job. Yeah.
I always like seeing Scarlett's team pictures and her pictures and stuff.
Yeah. That's my favorite picture. Like, don't get me wrong, I love seeing the individual ones of my kids, but I always like seeing the team pictures because you know you can look back and be like, oh yeah, you know, that team. And,
yep. You know,
but
yeah.
Those are good.
And did Deeves take picture with you?
No. He had other not responsibilities, but other obligations. There we go. So he couldn't make it. He was pretty bummed. He was pretty bummed.
Shoot, you want that's probably his first time coaching, right?
I believe so. Yeah,
getting the picture.
Yeah. So
bummer. Well, Photoshop him in.
I know. I'm gonna try to get a picture of him and I'll Photoshop him in.
Sorry. Yeah. My cough button. Yeah, we'll use Canva and maybe you can
there we go. You know. Yeah, and the senior high school players, they came out to meet the kids and sign some autographs and stuff. And that's always
very
fun.
Cool. Yeah,
it's so nice to see. You know, the seniors and the high school guys come out and support the youth program and stuff. And
pretty neat.
Coach Thacker was there. That guy's awesome. Cool. Coach Cotton. He's
Chris?
Also
Chris, good dude. Shout out to Chris Cotton.
Yeah. I mean, everybody at the sports program's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a great program.
That's great.
I'm glad they allow me to be a part of it.
Yeah, how cool is that? Yeah. It's fun. Yeah, good. Well, sounds good, and hopefully keep playing strong here.
Yeah. Hey, do you have any shows?
Yeah, just the Buffett show went over really well.
Yeah.
Well, it's so nice to look out in the audience and see a bunch of Hawaiian shirts and everybody had their leis on, you know, which was really cool. And the band we all had ours on. And we opened for them. A bunch of nice guys. We got to meet the whole band.
Oh, cool.
They are just, you know, professional musicians that get thrown together. They're not really a band per se, like it's this group every time. Sometimes it gets mixed up. So a lot of these professional musicians get involved with talent companies and talent agencies and whatnot. And then, hey, we got, you know, you guys want to go on this tour? You know, this one guy says, I can do Buffett and I need a band, and they'll put them together. So that's what this is.
Yeah.
It's called Buffett's Margaritaville, and it can be a number of members at any given time. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I learned something. See, I learned something from talking to these guys. And they were great. So Beast Night, we exchanged, you know, information and cards and things like that. And they told us how to get hooked up with their talent agency. So,
cool.
And the one guy said, hey, and anytime we play in Indiana, if you guys want to open for us, please do. That was
awesome.
A nice compliment because the band's we complimented them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Beez's music is just, you know, it's a ukulele. Mm-hmm. So it always has that kind of a, you know, Hawaiian, maybe island type feel. So it was a good opening act for those guys. And they come out, and boy, did they sound good. Played so much energy.
Yeah.
You got this excellent keyboard player, a steel guitar player who was just phenomenal. Everybody was.
Yeah.
But when you hear those that really bring out the Buffett, you know, the cool stuff in Buffett's songs, you hear that stuff and it's like, oh yeah, it's on stage live, you know. So yeah, a lot of energy, and the crowd really loved it. And that was nice. And we sold a lot of merch.
That's good.
So how cool is that? You know, we had a table set up, and Bees man, I left after about 4 or 5 songs. And so Bees stayed at the table and sold some merch.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a good night.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then we did some nursing homes. For those of you that don't know, Bees and I play a lot of nursing homes and assisted living. Yeah. Which is what funds our recording at Sweetwater every year.
Yeah.
So, so we were busy with that yesterday.
That's cool.
We played 2 of them. I did one by myself. I'm a one-man interactive band.
Yeah.
And so I just played the technology, right? If I had this technology 10 years ago, I'd been gone, right? So anyway, I did one in Fort Wayne, and then drove straight to Elkhart, and Bees and I played one real nice nursing home in Elkhart. Went over great.
That's cool.
Our first time there, so the activities director's like, yeah, when can we get you guys back?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk.
That's great.
So yeah, it was a good week. Yeah, real good week. Yeah. So, Josh, last week we said we was going to talk conspiracies part 2.
Yeah.
and we did not say a single word about conspiracies.
Yeah.
So why don't we?
I mean, maybe that was a conspiracy in itself.
It might have been a conspiracy,
we got
folks.
Censored.
Yeah. MK Ultra, do not talk about conspiracies. Yeah. So let's, with our conspiracy background, we got again.
We're being interrogated.
Yeah, boy, that looks good. Let's talk about conspiracies.
Yeah.
I think we wanted to bring up the two of the bigger ones.
Yeah. Do you want to go in timeline?
Yeah, let's
work our way backwards.
Yeah, let's go. Let's start in 1963.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
JFK. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I love history, and there's few events like that in American history that make you go, what?
Mm-hmm.
And the cool part is my dad was a young man during that time.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating because I got to see all the video clips, and I get to see all the everything and the documentaries and stuff. But I also had somebody that lived through it, and even my dad was like, I mean, at the time things just didn't seem right from his point of view.
Really?
He saw it and was like, the shock wore off after a couple days, and he started to wonder like, man, what really happened? Because Oswald gets shot.
Yeah.
And
on live TV.
And it's not like Jack Ruby was some outstanding, patriot.
Member of the community, although he was rather well-liked and well-known by the police department, FYI.
Yeah.
And you are aware that when Lee Harvey Oswald was brought out in the police department to answer some questions by the press, that Jack Ruby was in that room.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. My dad's always been, to me, one of my biggest heroes.
Sure.
So, to me, I could be a little biased in saying my dad was a very smart man. Like, he didn't just take things for what they were. He kind of like, he'd look into it a little bit. But, I mean, kind of hearing his point of view on stuff and everything, and then kind of seeing I definitely think it was an inside job. I mean, I don't think it was just something, I don't think it was Lee Harvey Oswald just going, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
I really feel like he was set up and put into that position.
Well, he said, I'm just a patsy.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people really knew what that word meant right back then.
Yeah.
I remember when I first saw that, and I'm like, well, what does that mean? I asked my dad. He said, oh, that means somebody got, framed.
Yeah.
That's what my dad told me a long time ago. So.
Yeah.
And then I remember asking my grandpa. My grandpa, he didn't say much about it as my dad's dad, but he had this book. He had this. Remember the big hardcover. It'd be like that big. It's just a hardcover book. It's something like that, and it was thin. It wasn't
the real thin ones.
Yeah, maybe 40 pages or so, 50 pages, and it was about. I think my brother probably correct me. He might have the book. My brother. I think it was called 3 Shots in Dallas. I think that might have been the title of the book, but I remember reading through that, and Lee Harvey had said, they quoted him as when he said, I'm just a patsy, and I remember asking my grandpa about that, and he went into a little more detail about what a patsy is, but I always appreciated that. But Grandpa, he said it was what it was. That's what he's like, well, that guy shot him, and then this other guy shot the guy that shot the president. I said, oh, okay. After watching some stuff and learning some stuff, I'm like, But I didn't argue with Grandpa. Now, Dad and I, we go round and round still, because you hear new stuff, and I've done a lot of research on JFK. I've read several books, pro conspiracy and not conspiracy.
Yeah,
and there's some good points to both.
Yeah,
but Jesse Ventura always brought up, he says, well, release his tax records. And let's see who Lee Harvey Oswald was working for, who was paying him. Because when you do that, you're going to see that he was working for either FBI or CIA fronted businesses.
Well,
and they won't release him for national security and privacy, right?
Well, it's funny because you look at all the people, look at everybody that benefited from JFK being assassinated. I mean,
CIA definitely benefited.
There were so many people.
I mean, Alan Dulles got his job back.
Yeah. Well, you start looking at the names that went from, just being someone in politics or involved in things in Washington to next thing you know, president, senators. I mean, a lot of powerful people. I mean,
Nixon.
George H.W. Bush. Was
photographed in Dallas the day of the assassination.
And again, I'm not trying to, implicate anybody into this.
Who was George H.W. Bush working for at the time he was photographed in Dallas?
Well, and then, next thing, he future president, Lyndon B. Johnson, there's a lot of people that benefited from him being gone. And so it does make you kind of wonder what takes place. Global politics and things were impacted by this change. At the time, Vietnam was starting, and then next thing you know, it escalates, and so there's just a lot of different things, and it just makes you wonder.
Well, and in the movie, JFK does propose a lot of questions. It also shows that, I believe the day after Kennedy was assassinated, that Lyndon Johnson signed memorandums that we were going to war or something like that, something close. I guess it was the Gulf of Tonkin incident that that really got us in, which they proved was a false flag.
Yeah.
Years later. So
well, and we know, what's one of the biggest businesses there is in the world. It's war.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of money.
Bell Helicopters. Yeah. Who I believe Johnson had a lot of stock in Bell Helicopters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and that what a blemish on the American, the history of our great country is that Vietnam War.
Oh,
an absolute uncalled for bull crap war, and I'm not diminishing any man or woman that served over there.
No.
Not a one of them.
I mean, I think everybody has at least one member of their family at some point in time that served. And
my best friend's father, one of my dearest cousins, his father, who I love dearly, my uncle. They were brave dudes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, could you? I think about it.
But they were over there fighting an unjust war on our part. You know. I just.
Yeah.
And then the POW campaign. Oh, it's just heart wrenching.
It really. Yeah. I know. I had. This is how big my family is. I had cousins that served in Vietnam.
Yeah. Wow.
and then uncles and. And I they don't talk much. Didn't talk much about it, and I no, I don't ever want to push anybody into something like that. And but what little bit they did say, it's it's the impact on them. I mean, some of them they still carry it with them.
Oh yeah, war is hell. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
I never lived through one. Hopefully we don't. Other than being, the war. I've never been in a war.
Yeah.
And I don't like to glamorize it either. Yeah. Speaking of war, okay. Well, we'll get to this in just a second. So JFK. Here's my thoughts on it. Lee Harvey Oswald did not kill him. I don't even think he fired a shot, and I think he was. More than likely taken out by a CIA mob
hit kind of
conglomerate there. And I do believe that E. Howard Hunt, who was arrested for Watergate, right, I do believe he was one of the gunmen.
Yeah.
And according to Woody Harrelson, his father was.
Yeah. I remember.
According to Woody Harrelson's father,
Yeah.
he was. I don't know if that's. Maybe there might be some truth to it, but I definitely believe that E. Howard Hunt was involved and was one of the gunmen. Because when he got arrested for Watergate, this was for Nixon, and he threatened Nixon, hey, you better get me out of here, or I'm going to tell him about the big event.
Yeah.
Okay, so they called that the big event, that assassination. And then again, I also want to see, there's too many coincidences about that day.
Yeah.
And there's too many witnesses that heard and saw people up at that fence there, that fence line by that train station at the grassy knoll, and there's a woman that has videotape of. They can't find. They never found her or the videotape.
Yeah,
you can see her in the pictures
right?
where she's filming. Yeah, it's like, okay, who's it? What's this?
What they call her? She had like a head wrap, right?
Yeah,
like a bonnet or something.
Right? Like a scarf.
Yeah, and
sunglasses, and she's filming it.
Yeah, and
from the other side.
Couldn't find any of that info.
Yeah.
See, that's and that's all the evidence and everything that's been gathered and taken and all that. It's locked away.
Yeah.
And they won't declassify it.
Yeah.
And then they had an opportunity a few years ago, and then it was
Trump.
They're like, Trump? Nope, we're not going to. And so that's where I'm like, wait, why?
He released more information about it than any other president. And according to him, if he wins this round, he's going to release more. Now, that might be political smoke up our skirt. And I know you and I we don't get political here on the podcast, so but that it wouldn't surprise me if we do learn more.
Well, that's the thing that amazes me. It's like why won't the rest of the government release this information? It's because some of the people that could have been involved are still alive.
Possible.
Or their family is now in a position of power.
Sure. And that could be, but because that is definitely probably a fact, right? More than likely a fact. But it could be too, they're trying to keep people to believe in the government, to have faith in the government, because these are the leaders, and that's going to corrupt. That's not going to work.
I think people are at a point where we don't.
We get it.
We understand that they're not.
There's still a lot of sheeple, but thanks to the internet, I think we got a lot of things figured out.
Yeah.
Release Lee Harvey Oswald's tax records and shut us up.
Yeah. Well, I think at this point, it's been 60 years. I think it's time to maybe start letting us know, because this is fascinating that that they want to just be
61 years.
Yeah. They just want everybody to accept the fact, oh, no, it was just one lone gunman. And it's like, guy. Oh, come on.
When that, Arlen Specter was the guy that created the magic bullet bull crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, bullets can do some funky things. That's no joke.
Yeah.
In the way that the Governor Connolly, JFK's seat in the back of that limo and Jackie, where they were sitting, was elevated. Did you know that? So it was elevated. So a lady or Mrs. Connolly and the governor, they were down lower, right? So that's kind of an interesting story there. A lot of people don't know that. And then why get rid of the evidence so fast?
Yeah.
They destroyed that Lincoln.
Yeah, and
that's forensic evidence
to me.
And one of them said that the windshield was covered in bullet holes. Really?
Really? Yeah.
Well, they had them in a triangular crossfire. Oliver Stone got that right. There's people up top in those buildings, and there were people probably down by the fence line there.
Well, I mean, it looks better.
Or the overpass.
It looks better. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, it looks better when it's, one lone gunman. It's just one crazy person.
Well, yeah, you wrap it up.
It's simple. It's clear cut. It's just one angry guy. And, the thing is, he wasn't even angry.
He kind of was. He seemed like he was angry at the political situation.
But it wasn't one of those, like, to the point where he obsessed over it. Because, I mean, the way it was set up, he went up there and triangulated where he was going to be and a perfect shot. You know?
And he did his friend that took Lee to work, gave him a ride to work.
Yeah.
He did say Lee had this long package. It was bagged up. And he asked him what's in there, and Lee said curtain rods. Yeah. So that's Lee. I don't think he fired a shot, but I do think that he was aware of the situation. I think he was part of the plan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do believe that.
Yeah. Well, I think when he ran, I think that's, I mean, for one, you're going to run, but two, I think a lot of it was like he finally realized, oh, shoot, I got set up.
Well, I'm supposed to meet this person here. This person's not here.
Yeah.
Okay, got to go.
Yeah.
And then, with Tippett getting shot, there's all kinds of witnesses say, oh, I saw two guys. I saw one guy, And then the Tippett, they used to call J.D. Tippett, his police coworkers called him Kennedy because he resembled John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And then there's conspiracies out there that they used Tippett as the autopsy.
Mm-hmm. Oof.
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know about that, folks, but that's a good one. And if you look at J.D. Tippett's picture, he does resemble Kennedy. I mean, they resemble each other for sure. So tragic. Just what a crazy day, man.
Well, and I sit there and you think about.
And who knew? Okay, so someone knew that Lee Harvey Oswald was going to meet someone in that theater.
Yeah.
Okay, so the guy who ran a store saw Lee Harvey go in there and just called the police.
Yeah.
I believe that as far as I could throw it.
Yeah.
I don't buy that.
Yeah.
Someone knew he was going to be in there and they tipped the police off.
I mean, Dallas is a big city. Yeah. And it's not like a small town where everybody knows everybody. So some guy just walking, saw him go in.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
I don't buy
this guy that everybody just now knows.
Yeah.
Just walked into a theater. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. There's just so many questions, so many things, and
if you dig deep, folks, you might realize there's more going on than meets the eye with the Kennedy thing.
Well, I often think about his policies and how things could have been different.
I would have voted for him.
Yeah,
you better believe it.
There's so many things. I mean, my grandma mentions him showing up in Kentucky and meeting some of her family.
Cool.
No, I'm sorry, not her. Robert, his brother. And they were like, he was incredible, and just the different things he was doing for, the middle class, lower class people, and
civil rights,
and trying to. I mean, he served in World War II. He doesn't want to see another war.
President Kennedy was a bona fide war hero.
Yeah.
A war hero. As a matter of fact, the coconut that he had on his desk was
it?
I think he had written his SOS on.
Yeah.
When he jumped back into the water after his ship got blown up and rescued, I think, 10 to 12 of his.
And what a job that was in the Navy at the time.
Yeah.
Like, gee, you're taking these, small boats going up against big Japanese.
He swam out to get these guys back.
Not to
this island
while his back, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had like herniated discs.
That's
or
why
something
he
in
couldn't.
His back
That's why when he got shot and you see him go like this, he couldn't bend over. He couldn't get down because he had a back brace. People don't know that.
Yeah,
he had a back brace that kept him upright.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, and I read The Dark Side of Camelot by Seymour Hersh, and it's a good read. It's fun. It's a good read, and you learn some things. But I don't know. That's politics for you. There's some deceptions, and there's some dark room deals sometimes, maybe. But when you got a guy that's really pushing for peace.
Mm-hmm. And change, and like positive change too,
wanting
not
to
just
go to
change.
the moon.
Yeah,
you know, I'm okay.
You mean
Sometimes
the
I
space
look
station in space?
Yeah.
It's no small moon.
That's no moon. It's hollow
Yeah.
in metal, they say. Yeah. And an angel of, or a chorus of angels are singing on the dark side of the moon. Did you hear that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Is it
Apollo 11? Yeah. The Apollo 11 guys, I believe, said they heard what they thought was a chorus of angels singing. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, what's going on here? Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about real quick, Josh. We got a couple minutes. And we'll have to do part 3 sometime.
Yeah.
9/11.
Mm-hmm.
I was a staunch Bush supporter, and I let me tell you a 9/11 story.
Mm-hmm.
So that year, U2 released a really great album. What was All That You Can't Leave Behind?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it had Beautiful Day on it,
Yeah.
which is a wonderful song, although there's songs on that album that are way better, in my opinion. But I'm a big U2 fan.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a song on that album called New York, where Bono sings about living in New York. He's got an apartment there that he lives in. And I didn't like the song at all. It's not one I'd sing or one I'd hit again. If I could skip it, I skipped it.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw him in Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, May 10th, 2001. Saw U2 down there. And they played New York, and I thought that was odd. I was like, man, does anybody like this song? And what they did was really cool. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Live's usually different, a little more energy, right? And what they did with their, the stage show when they played that song was really cool. I said, oh, that's neat, But it's still not one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I was married at the time, my former wife. And we get up September 11th. We had to get up early because we were going into work early. We worked together. And while I'm getting ready and stuff, I start singing. This is 4 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. I start singing that song, and I'm humming the melody, and I started singing it. And my wife knew I did not like that song. And she looks at me, we were in the bathroom getting ready, and she says, I didn't think you liked that song. I said, oh, I don't. I said, must be one that gets stuck in your head, and you sing it all day. Yeah, that's a true story. And on the way to work while we're driving, I'm humming New York by U2. And, that's the day it happened. Mm-hmm. A couple hours later.
Yeah.
And when we started finding out, my wife walked in and she looked at me. She goes, wow, kind of funny. Kind of funny you're singing that song all morning. I was like, yeah, don't tell anybody. That happened.
Yeah. I mean, that was my JFK moment.
Yeah.
As a
How
kid.
old were you?
I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh, wow.
So puts me around 14, 15.
14, 15. I was 22, by the way.
Yeah.
Wait, when did I get married? I might have been 24, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, okay, yeah,
right.
because I'm 10 years old. So right
mm-hmm.
there. Yep, that's correct. Thank you.
So, I mean, that was kind of one of those where, where were you? I was in high school. I was taking the I-STEP test.
Oh, my.
We took a break. And then, we saw everybody had the TVs on. Warsaw High School at the time, I don't know what they got now. They probably have flat screens, but we had TVs up in the corner for all our morning announcements and different things like that and stuff. And so everybody had the TVs on, and we're like, what is going on? You should be doing your I-STEP. So we kind of just like watching the windows of the classrooms, and you could see everybody. They're watching the same thing. And we go back into our classroom, and the teachers come in. They're like, "Hey, everybody needs to sit down. We need to have a conversation. More, this is odd. It's weird. What's going on?" And they said that there's been a terrorist attack in New York, and on the Pentagon, they were going to turn on the TV, and they wanted everybody to see what's going on. So they turned the TV on. We're watching it. And it was, I don't know, around that time that the first tower comes down.
Wow.
And we're just, bunch of 14, 15-year-olds sitting there, and we're just what's going on, and this is, I don't want to say pre-internet, it's internet, but it's not the internet as we know it today.
Yeah.
So information is already hard to come by when you have that kind of situation, because no one knows anything other than what's happening at that moment. So yeah, it was creepy. It was scary. Not knowing what's going to happen, and being a young man, you think, well, I mean, if this is an attack on the country, we're going to war. Mm-hmm. Because somebody that enjoys history, you instantly start thinking back of Pearl Harbor, and
sure.
So yeah, I mean, we're all just, I don't know. It's a tough one, and in the moment, it's terrifying, and you just think about coming together as a country, and being there for everybody, and then as time goes by, you start to kind of wonder what really happened.
When did you have any inclination that there might have been something else going on than what we were told in the by the news?
It was so. It took a minute. It took a minute because once a lot of the stuff started coming out about the Iraq War and Afghanistan, and the fact there were no weapons of mass destruction and all this different stuff and everything. Again, as a young man, like I was ready to do my patriotic duty, when I turned 18, and then, there was time in between there where I was like, wait, what's going on? It just seemed interesting, considering that a lot of people had the decisions to go into Iraq were stakeholders in weapon or
Halliburton.
Defense. Yeah. So
Blackwater.
It started to kind of make me question what really happened, because again, an event like that, you're going to war. You're not going to just let it happen and just be okay with it, especially the massive amount of lives lost. Just horrific, when you think about it. So, yeah, it just seemed like there was a lot more to it. And then, of course, you had the Fahrenheit 9/11 documentary come out. So, you start.
That was Michael Moore's movie, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, right, wrong, or indifferent, he brings up a lot of facts, a lot of questions, and
brought up the fact that George Bush Sr. was responsible for flying bin Laden's brother and family out of the United States on one of the last planes that was not grounded.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of like the fact that jet fuel burns at, a certain temperature, and to melt the steel beams, the scientifics, side of things and everything. It just you start to question things, and you're just like, well, wait a minute,
is this plausible?
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Yeah. Now,
for those buildings to collapse the way they did?
Exactly. And I'm not saying I do not have the facts. I do not know. I would like to say that it is what it appears to be.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of questions, a lot of things that don't make sense.
Well, there's some eyewitnesses who will testify that bombs blew up in the basement.
Yeah.
Severing massive columns.
Yeah.
Willie Rodriguez is one of them, who said that bombs went off in the basement.
Well, and that's the other thing a lot of people have brought up too, is the fact that for where the planes had hit, the whole building shouldn't have came down. From the top to where they had hit makes sense.
I could see some collapsing.
Yeah.
Falling apart, busting apart.
Yeah.
But I can't see it.
It was more like an implosion.
Almost a free fall.
Yeah. Yeah, it was more of an implosion instead of a crumble or,
And pulverized absolute dust.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm sure with all that energy, most things would be.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and there might be, that might have happened because of those jets that were filled with fuel and the burning. A lot of paper in there, things like that. And, but Building 7's really, I remember when that collapsed, I remember watching it on the news that evening, and I'm like, well, why did that building go down? And when I watched it, I was like, well, geez, that looks just like when they take down buildings with controlled demolitions. That's what I said.
Yeah, and wasn't that building that had like financial records or documents or something, or I don't know, some data.
It housed all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It was headquarters for the CIA for New York City, as well as the governor's emergency bunker. Okay, so Rudy Giuliani had the choice to go there, and they said, well, he did, but then they said, no, you can't. It's just too much going on right there. So they opted not to do that. And then it was also the home for a lot of financial gold records on gold and things like that. So that building collapsed because it got damaged from debris that came from the first two towers.
Yeah.
Does that sound like that's possible?
To me, it just, I mean, when you start saying financial records and data, it's easy to go, oh man, all the data and financial records is gone.
Yeah.
You know?
Remember the day before 9/11, Donald Rumsfeld did a press conference at the Pentagon, I believe it was the Pentagon, and he said, we cannot account for $4 trillion.
Yeah.
$4 trillion is missing.
Yeah.
Can't account for it.
Mm-hmm. It's when you start following money, that's when things start getting interesting. I mean, that's the number one thing I tell anybody.
Yeah.
Start following the money, and then it'll take you to the answers. But yeah, it's just there's so many. I mean, the fact that we watched the guys that committed the act for 6 months to a year. I mean, the CIA and the FBI, followed them and watched them take flight lessons and so many different things. Like it just, how do you have such a massive drop in intelligence? That's the part I don't quite understand.
Trying to look this fella up. Of course, it's.
Is it getting blocked?
How can our air defense system also failed us, and we spent at that time, I believe, $15 billion on our air defense system. Jesse Ventura made some really good points on his show, Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura on True TV years ago. He sat down with one of an FBI spokeswoman. Well, first he sat down with a FBI guy, and he said, So Osama bin Laden is public enemy number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number one in the top 10 list.
Yeah.
But he's not for the events in 9/11. The FBI says no, it's for the Cole bombing and the bombing in Kenya, the embassy.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse says, well, why isn't he on there for 9/11? Because most people think he's on there for the events on 9/11. The guy says, we don't have enough evidence. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was on his show. Okay, so they're okay. And then he sits down with a FBI spokeswoman, and he's talking to her about the Pentagon. And there was, I think they confiscated around 100 CCTV tapes.
Oh, yeah.
Closed circuit television of hotels and gas stations.
Yeah.
That captured whatever hit the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Okay. They won't release those.
Yeah, I mean,
why not?
I've even seen something where it said it wasn't a plane that hit the Pentagon, that it was,
or it wasn't the plane they said it was.
Yeah, it was. They'd had photo, and it's hard now to see photos of anything and just be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it is, because we have AI, we have so many different things. Yeah. Photoshop 20 years ago or 10, 15 years, something like it was pretty good. You could do some pretty good stuff. So. The fact that it's hard to always be like, yep, that's exactly what it is, because things can be doctored. But there's just so many questions. There's so many things like we try to bury and hide so much and just be like, oh yeah, this is what happened. This is the truth. And
I wouldn't at this day and age. I wouldn't trust the media to save my life for nothing.
No, and it's frustrating. I envy my dad in the fact that they had Walter Cronkite as
Walter Cronkite and
the guide.
And I liked, He was solid, and I liked Dan Rather,
Yes.
Tom Brokaw, Peter Jennings, Ted Koppel, and those guys. I liked all those guys.
Barbara Walters.
And Barbara and Diane Sawyer, of course.
Yeah.
I liked them. Then there's some manipulation going on even back then, but not nearly what it is today, where it's so, and today is so politically biased, so very strange. But, yeah, so... Well, I always thought Jesse made a couple good points about 9/11, and one was, he said, why can't you show us? Show us the videos.
Yeah.
Show us the videos, and we'll shut up.
Yeah. It's the same thing with the UFOs, right? I mean, just show us
me the
what
money,
you got. Like, yeah.
And I'll shut up.
Yeah. It's...
But when you don't, and there's no transparency there because of national security, that's ridiculous.
Well, at this point, I mean, 9/11, what national security, what are they, what is going to hurt now if you just give us the fact, like, as far as, you know what I mean, the national security
side of it. The Patriot Act came from 9/11, which
yeah.
Now anything you and I say, this video, when it gets put up, it can be monitored, recorded, keywords can be used, and they, if they wanted to, the powers that be could put the squeeze on us, hey, how's you're going to get audited by the IRS this year, or, what's on your laptop? And
that's always been kind of my thing. Like I don't know. I struggle with things. Like I love this country, but I also look at it and go, there's some things, that
dark
make me
elements.
Really, and the Patriot Act is kind of one of those where it's and you look throughout history, you give people something scary. They will throw their rights away for safety.
Yeah, don't do that, folks.
And that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
We did because.
Oh, sorry, Josh.
No, you're good.
I'm not bored
because one of the first things we did was as a country was like protect us, keep us safe. It could happen again. And so when they came out with like the Patriot Act and stuff like that, everybody was like, yeah, we totally get it. We're fine with it. Yeah, keep us safe.
Like I said, I was a staunch Bush supporter.
Yeah.
Boy, do I regret that. Oh, by the way, and it took me 10 years. I didn't believe you couldn't have told me there was a conspiracy or things are different.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always tried to question things. I don't know why. And I don't know if it's just my nature or what, but I've always kind of looked at stuff and questioned it. And maybe it's because my dad was the same way. But he did believe the moon landing, so...
Okay. Well, we'll have to talk about that on the next one, because that's a big one, and it's very popular right now. It's trending. It really is. Right?
I mean, I believe we landed there, but,
Sure.
Again, it's one of those where...
I'll tell you, we'll have to talk about that, because I want to believe for sure.
Maybe that's what it is. I want to believe, but...
because it's a great story. Wow. If it's real.
Yeah.
What if it's not?
Yeah.
So we'll have to talk about that next. But we're going long today, almost 50 minutes here.
Hey.
That's what happens when you got good conversation. So, folks, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about JFK and 9/11 and anything else, you want to say or add, or maybe we should talk about.
Yeah, hit us up with some of your favorite, conspiracies and different things, and any other extra facts and information.
Whenever we do our third conspiracy podcast, we'll talk about the moon landing for sure. So,
flat Earth.
Ooh, flat Earth. That'll be good. Yeah, we should definitely. That one can be humorous.
We've had some fun conversations about that one at work. Yeah, that's
sure.
Shout out to Bill.
Yeah. Bill got right on that one, didn't he? He's right here.
I loved his. He's like, let me go on the record and go. I don't believe flat Earth, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Yeah, he says I'm gonna play devil. He pulls all kinds of cool stuff up. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Shout out to Wild Bill. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, folks, thanks for watching. Click like and subscribe. Yeah. Digital Dockside Studios is Josh's YouTube channel, and mine's. Scotty Rocker here. So thank you very much. And Josh, we'll
appreciate it.
We'll see him next time.
Heck yeah, we will. See you guys.